The religion of the Ubaid, kind of prehistoric Sumerians, they were deeply rooted in the Anunnaki tradition. This tradition teaches a secret star knowledge that is concerned with the absolute origins and also the interconnectedness of life in the universe. Remnants of this knowledge have appeared in various forms, like in Egyptian, for example, the Nubian and Dagon tribes of Africa. It's the knowledge that links the Elven-Ffayrie with the alien races from other parts of the universe. Various systems and their governments, Sirius and all that good stuff. In fact, in part, like one version of materials that I've seen here on the planet, the Urantia book often reads as like a guide, or reminds me of a less humorous version of like a real Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so to speak. But these things are all still written forms, so Elven history is linked with the cosmos, even via language, really. If we were to examine the words used to describe the Elven-Ffayrie, like as shining ones, it's really a reference, obviously, to the shining stars, including the hereditary elven names Eru and Anu, as well as the roots N and L. The root Ella is reserved when referring to the stars, specifically to avoid confusion, but this makes like terms like Anunnaki, which would be like Anunnaki in a more barbarish, it would be like star dragons, whereas we have, Anu is An is star and Ki is earth, and then, those who from the stars, from the heavens to the earth came. But again, you could even go more literally than that and refer to them as star dragons. The Elvish word Eleanor, which is a proper name, means both star dragon and star fire. So using this logic, the latter children of Anu become children of the stars or starborn, which could also be said Elen or Elan in the Elven language. Words like Aloya can translate in human tongue as either Elven heart or star heart. And this is very, very interesting when you get into the semantics of that. So then these original priest kings are descendants of a genetic stream from a distant star that began with an experiment in Eden, who were observed by watchers, and the watchers appear in ancient times as intermediaries between the physical plane and the source of all being and creation. They appear in archaic lore as powerful, but not God in themselves. The names Melanki, Yah, Ea, Yao, Yahweh, just Jehovah, Sumerian mythology mentions these intermediaries as almost like humanoid but not human. Later, the descendants became known as Dragon Kings, and names like Enlil and Enki appear in proper names, and then just as we find in classical mythology that planetary orbs take on deity names also. So sometimes we're not always clear, are we referring to a specific avatar, Anunnaki figure, or are we talking about the formation of the planets, such as in the creation epic, the Enuma Elish? So here, though, begins this whole kind of beginning of where we have this idea about elven folk and so forth. It's Enki who proclaims himself as Lord of the Earth upon his arrival from Nibiru, is credited with the discovery of bioengineering practices that led to the creation of hybrid males, mixing the genetics with the Earth folk, and eventually came to fall in love with this creation, and we get this idea and genetic memory of the fairy lover, and so forth. In other versions, we find that it was Enlil that was responsible for the Eden project, and that Enki was Kano, but it's in the diversity of the regional cultures and languages and perspectives that we come to understand these things, because they all vary a little bit based on who the writers had allegiance to, or was it in alignment with. There's a lot of issues surrounding the supremacy and the order of ranks among the Anunnakis, particularly between Enlil and Enki, and then later Marduk. But in truth, Sumerian lore kind of informs a seeker that it was Enki that was also responsible for humans discovering that vaginal sex causes reproduction when he appeared to the human females, and prior to this, that was almost like believed to be simply a gift that came from Enlil. And here you can see again parallels between the story of the Garden of Eden and the apple and original sin and the loss of innocence. And a lot of lust hormones were actually incorporated into the human genetic structure at one point, which seems a lot less so in the elven folk and that genetics. That was actually designed to disrupt or cancel out the long lifetimes that they were given. It's at this point that the Anunnaki, specifically in the DNA of the race on the planet, they specifically restricted the lifespan to 120 years at that point. And then we no longer have these almost like paranormally long lifespans recorded And it's interesting because the Sumerian king lists and whatnot record similar information in the degradation of the species and their genetic structure. The idea is that by disrupting the natural flow of magical energies and shorten one's lifespan, it can actually cause one to spiritually burn out a lot quicker than perhaps is in our true nature.